Hey, so you'll never guess who came to visit me. Actually, you probably will be able to guess. Listen, man, it was my own fault. I fucked up. Look, I fucked up, okay? It would have been one thing if I'd have just said I was going to kick that mother's ass, okay? But then I had to go and call mental health myself and say that I wanted to be sectioned. So I knew this was coming. I mean, it happens every time. I call for help, I don't get the help, and then somebody else is brought in out of concern for me when they realize that I'm not going to be, I'm not going to be sliding into a complete meltdown like they wanted, okay? So I recorded part of the conversation, a part of the meeting that I had with these people. You know what? This is drying, but I'm going to stop this because this is worth it. It's worth it. It's worth stopping this. Because I want absolute quiet for this shit. Okay? So I'll stop the dryer. I've got the speaker up at full volume because I want everybody to hear what is being said during this meeting. Okay? So, let's begin. There we go. Yeah, but I understand that things aren't going to happen immediately, so...
What would your thoughts be about going to the hospital for a while? Is that something you would consider to get away from the door?
Not really. I mean, I'm not really bothered either way, because at the end of the day, I'm going to go into hospital, and then I'm going to come back out, and it's going to happen again. What needs to happen is that the harassment needs to stop.
Yeah.
Because I've been in this situation several times.
Yeah.
And I've been to hospital. That doesn't help because
Which hospital was that?
Well, I was in London and I was in, let me see if I can remember the name. It was Park Royal. Okay, so that was back in London.
And did they give you any medicine when you were in the hospital?
Yeah, none of it helps with the harassment. The harassment is the main crux of the issue.
But what medicine did they give you?
It was aripiprazole.
Now, how did you get on with that?
Well, the antipsychotics basically, all it did was deaden me inside. It didn't actually help, like antipsychotics.
Did it have a calming effect?
As a general rule, it doesn't help at all because all it does is, like, give the repression, the emotional repression, a longer period of time, and then when it finally comes out, it comes out even worse than it would have done if I'd have just not taken it.
Okay. And so is that what the doctors thought the problem was? That it was due to psychosis? Or?
No, I mean, psychosis doesn't engineer harassment. Like, I've had the same problem with London as I seem to be having with a lot of mental health institutions where it's a case of, if I'm talking about harassment and nothing is being done and I'm getting angry, which is a natural response to the harassment,
Yeah, I understand that.
then it's a mental health problem, and that's something that really I just find abhorrent. Like, why not just do something about the harassment? Why does it boil down to how I'm responding to a situation that is just completely abnormal and completely out of pocket?
Okay. Why do you think they're doing this?
Well, it doesn't matter, does it? What matters is that it needs to stop.
Yes, I can see that from your point of view, yes.
What they wanted to do was to get me to talk about targeting early. And I don't understand why they keep doing this, because the thing is, I could say it early, I could say it late. The truth is the truth. Doesn't matter. Okay? I don't know why they keep doing this. I don't know why they keep thinking that if they say, well, why do... I'm like, no. I'm being harassed. There's evidence. Who gives a shit why they're doing it? It needs to stop, period. But let's continue.
The doctors in London think the problem was...
Well, they said I was hearing voices, which wasn't true because I was able to get evidence of all the harassment.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Has it been going on today?
Yes, but kind of on a mild sort of... Yeah, it's not as strong as it was, like...
Not as strong. Oh, so it's
Yeah.
settling a bit, is it?
It's not settling. It's just that they're scared of what might happen if it doesn't stop.
Okay.
Because I've talked about the fact that I've been harassed before, and the fact that it's not even about me being angry. It's about what's caused the harassment before. So, because I talk about that, and I don't have any hesitation to say, this is what's happening to citizens around the country. This is not just a personal issue. People are being, there's something, it's just that they're scared of what might happen if it doesn't stop.
Okay.
Because I've talked about the fact that I've been harassed before, and the fact that it's not even about me being angry, it's about what's caused the harassment before. So, because I talk about that, and I don't have any hesitation to say, this is what's happening to citizens around the country. This is not just a personal issue. People are being, there's something covert going on. And the thing is, what I'm talking about has decades of research behind it. So there's decades of research behind electronic weaponry, psychotropic weaponry, and covert harassment, covert neighborhood harassment that's usually caused by a community watch initiative. The reason why a lot of people feel like it's just a conspiracy theory is because not a lot of people know about it, because they're not supposed to. So people like us are basically harassed out of house and home. We end up being institutionalized into the mental health profession, or unfortunately, in some cases, people end up dead.
Dead?
Yes.
That would be serious, good Lord.
And not just from suicide either, but from strokes, heart attacks, cancer. You know, it's, yeah.
And this is related to the electronic sort of attacks, or?
It's not just the electronic attacks, but think about it like this. Apparently, 1 minute of anger, I don't know if the 1 minute part is true, but apparently 1 minute of anger can shut down your immune system for hours. Now, imagine getting harassed day in and day out. That's longer than a minute. What effects do you think that will have on somebody's physical health, let alone their mental health?
I can imagine. Good. But have you been subject to these electronic attacks?
A lot of people that I know have. There was this one.
What does it feel like? How does it affect you?
Well, there are different parts of the body that are affected, but the worst places that have been affected have been here, here, and here.
And what does it feel like?
It's indescribable. The pain is just absolutely horrendous. It's like when I was going through this in May, June, I literally couldn't walk. It was that bad. I had to crawl on the floor in this flat.
Was this something to do with the Havana something?
Havana syndrome. Well, there was one person who was going through Havana syndrome, another TI like myself in another part of the country, and mental health basically has to acknowledge that yes, this person is going through this. Sorry, I'm gonna have to rewind that because I was trying to charge the phone because it's on low battery. My apologies. 1 second. I'm gonna replay that whole part again, because when I said here, here, and here, what I was talking about was my jawline and my hips. Yeah, those are where it was causing the worst pain, because that has multiple nerve endings, and that your hips control your ability to walk. So those are the worst pain that I've actually had in my life. So that's what I was telling him. I'm going to rewind that part again because I was trying to get my phone organised. Is it here?
Have you been subject to these electronic attacks?
Yes.
Okay.
And not just from suicide either, but from strokes, heart attacks, cancer. You know, it's, yeah.
And this is related to the electronic sort of attacks, or?
It's not just the electronic attacks, but think about it like this. Apparently, 1 minute of anger, I don't know if the 1 minute part is true, but apparently 1 minute of anger can shut down your immune system for hours. Now, imagine getting harassed day in and day out. That's longer than a minute. What effects do you think that will have on somebody's physical health, let alone their mental health?
I can imagine. Good. But have you been subject to these electronic attacks?
A lot of people that I know have.
And
there was this
what
one.
What does it feel like? How does it affect you?
Well, there are different parts of the body that are affected, but the worst places that have been affected have been here, here, and here.
And what does it feel like?
It's indescribable. The pain is just absolutely horrendous. It's like when I was going through this in May, June, I literally couldn't walk. It was that bad. I had to crawl on the floor in this flat.
Was this something to do with the Havana something?
Havana syndrome. Well, there was one person who was going through Havana syndrome, another TI like myself in another part of the country. And mental health basically had to acknowledge that, yes, this person is going through this because they've got the research to back it up. They've got the evidence to back it up. So they will basically say, yes, this person is going through Havana syndrome. This is not like paranoid schizophrenia. And that person had to be, there was an acknowledgement that they had to be let go because of it. And now, the point that I'm getting to is this. Usually, what will happen is that the harassment will reach crescendo, or the pain that I'm going through will reach a crescendo. And what will happen is that I'll call out for help, right? And that call for help is not acknowledged. That will go unacknowledged. And it's usually only when I improve on my own that somebody will actually come round and get anything done. So that's what normally happens. And
is this the reason you came down to Brighton, to get away from what was going on in London?
There is no getting away from it.
Okay, it's everywhere, isn't it?
Because the way it works is that when you are a specific target, it's like a three-pronged approach, right? So there's one, there may be one controller. They're not the very top of the hierarchy. There are others above them, but there's a controller. Yeah, it's not a prong; it's a hierarchy. I explain it. Hang on. And then for every controller, there are about 3 handlers. And for 3 handlers, there are about 5 perpetrators. And the people that they are harassing or torturing, they're kind of below them. And it's difficult to say exactly how many targets there are for each perpetrator, but I do know that there are like literally thousands of us across the country. I know quite a few of them already.
And are you able to recognise these individuals? How can you tell who they are?
Well, there was one particular person who had lost family members. They recently had to bury a family member because they had been witness to absolutely everything that this TI was going through. So his last witness just died. This same person...
When you say TI?
Targeted individual. So basically, this person recently lost a member of their family that were witness to everything that was happening to them. So they witnessed it. And that person's just died. And...
So they would have known who was doing it?
Okay. They lost their only witness. They've got other evidence, they've got circumstantial evidence, but that person who died was literally the only person that could have said, look, this is absolutely happening to this person. So I've got people like that in my corner at the moment, and then there are other people who have died. There was this one person in America who died of the same thing. She had a lot of other health problems beside that, but there's a woman in America who died, and the police came over, and normally the first thing that they do is they look at your cell phone, they look at your records to see if there is any evidence been left on it. They didn't look at any of it.
What would they have found?
They would have found evidence of basically harassment, like she said. They would have found evidence of everything that she was talking about as a targeted individual. And when it comes to me, back in London at least, the same thing happened with me. When I'd show people evidence of myself being harassed, the police would just completely ignore it. Not here, but in London, they would just completely ignore it. So I'm dealing with several crimes being committed against me. Nobody's doing anything about them. They're not even reported as crimes. I bring evidence to the table that's unacknowledged, and yet when it comes to my mental health, the only time when I seem to get help is when I no longer need it. So I have to be the one who says, I want to be hospitalized, or I need this, or I need help, something. and then it's only a couple of months later, or when I seem to be getting better, or when I seem to be standing my ground in a way that shows assertiveness and clarity, that's when people decide to swoop in and say, this person needs help.
I mean, if anyone who's going through what you've been going through could well end up having a breakdown.
Well, yeah, I mean, if
do you think that's part of what's been happening?
Well, having the breakdown because of what's happened. Of course, I mean, it's not. You're not going to go through like this is the thing. Let's just unpack all of this. So basically, you're being electronically tortured, and you know that's happening to you. But because it could literally be coming from anywhere, because the weapons being used against you are remote, you don't know who it is. So if you want to tell people about it, they'll ask who's doing this to you.
Yeah.
You can't say who's doing this to you because you don't know for sure. So because of that, people will turn around and say, well, this person has a mental illness, they're hearing things, they're all that type of stuff. And then on top of that, you've got people harassing you in such a way that sometimes you're unsure of whether or not you've been harassed, because they might say it quietly, or they might do it in such a way where you don't know what's going on. So there's gaslighting going on top of that. So that also affects you.
Okay.
And then on top of that, you have to try to tell police what's happened. You have to try to tell mental health what's happened. And either they won't listen to you, or because they are unaware and genuinely ignorant of the situation, they're just going to think you're deluded as well. So it's almost like you're living two completely different lives, with people telling you that the other life is not happening when they don't know what's going on, but they're going to tell you what's wrong with you anyway.
It does sound like a nightmare. Would you consider taking any medicine?
I mean, it's not going to help.
Yeah.
It didn't help last time. I've taken the pill several times.
Yeah.
People still abuse me. What needs to happen is there needs to be transparency within every industry about what has actually been going on with citizens and how they've been affected. That's what needs to happen. We need to stop hiding behind mental health issues and stop using that as a way to actually silence people. That's what needs to happen.
But would you have to come into the hospital until things settle down?
No, I'm good.
You're good. Okay. I must confess, I'd be quite concerned if all this was going on. I would probably it would be something to consider.
It's just a day in a life for me. And when I go into hospital, it doesn't change. Like I said, I've been into hospital before.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get away from them because they were breaking down too. Because if you're this obsessed over somebody for a month and you don't know who they are, that's a definite slip of mental health.
It's going to take its toll. I would recommend that you keep coming to the hospital for a bit.
I bet you would, but at the moment it just doesn't seem like a good idea. Because when I come back, they're still going to be here.
And it must be, you're clearly distressed by it.
Well, why wouldn't anybody be distressed by harassment?
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that. Okay, was there anything you wanted to ask? Was there anything you wanted to ask us?
Not really.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for seeing us. And we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for coming. Thank you so much.
I hope things settle for you.
Yeah, so do I. Thank you. So that's that. So he invited me into hospital several times. What I think kicked this off was this morning's video. Not the latest one, the one before. And I think what happened was either these people called mental health, which I feel like is very unlikely. It's more likely that these people spoke to the landlords and the landlords called mental health and mental health called these doctors over. That's what I think happened. I don't know for sure, but that's what I think happened. And I think it happened because of one of my social media entries today. So that was another fuck up, but, let the chips fall where they may. At the end of the day, if people are out here being killed because of behavior like this, then I can't, if they want to give me a chemical lobotomy, give me a chemical lobotomy, no man. If they want to do that, if that's what they want to do, then that's what they want to do. It's not going to stop the truth being the truth. People are out here dying in their thousands because of this shit. So if that's what they really want to do, let them do it. Let them fucking do it. Because at the end of the day, you know, you can't keep silencing people like this. You can't keep doing this to people. You can't keep doing wrong and thinking that it's not going to come out at some point. You can kill me. You can kill me with these medication drugs. You can kill me through endless harassment fucking with my immune system. You can kill me with the electronic torture. The truth is going to come out and there is nothing that you can do about it. And yes, when it does come out, people are going to be very, very angry. You can't do this like fucking like the certs that sung nonsense, which was literally done just before the Nazis came into power. Like, we're literally in the 2020s now. There's clearly a pattern forming and nobody's getting it yet. People are dropping like flies out here. What do we think the reason is? COVID? This was social engineering that was decades in the making. Almost a century in the making. This is not by accident. This is fucking serious shit. This is not about some stupid neighborhood feud. People's lives are in the balance. In fact, people have been dying. Let them do whatever the fuck they want. I don't give a fuck about their goddamn hospital. If you want to take me into hospital, fine. They want to put me under chemical lobotomy, fine. They want to kill me through medication, fine. At least I'll join the ranks with some brave souls that actually stood for something and actually fought. Okay, fine, they didn't choose that life. But when it came to pretending that nothing was going on and speaking the truth, these people chose to speak the truth. They chose to do that. I'd rather join in the ranks with those people. I'd rather die like a lioness than live like a bitch. Of course that guy invited me into hospital. Somebody somewhere told them, oh, she's violent, Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. So, that was a voluntary invitation for me to come into hospital. Over the next few days, it may very well become a mandatory order if people feel it's sufficient enough to silence me. I was expecting that. That was my fuck up. I should never have called the mental health. I just wanted to get out of this fucking building. But you notice how now everything's calmed down and I've calmed down. Now that's when they decide to swoop in. Yeah, this is exactly what my fucking partner was talking about. That's why he said, do not call them for help. Because they're going to do some fuck shit like that. And they've been doing it. They've been doing that. Like I told these 3 doctors, there were 3 doctors present. They've been doing that. So now that they know that lives are in the balance, now it is up to them which way they're going to lean. But whichever way they lean is not my problem. Sacrifices have to be made to make sure future generations don't go through this shit, and I will happily put my hat in the ring. It's all right by me. I'm okay with it. Like I said, I don't like the idea of being sectioned or being institutionalized or being like nothing like that. I don't like anything like that. But sacrifices have to be made for the cause. And we don't get out of it. I made my choice. When I first started opening my mouth, I didn't even realize. But from the time I opened up my mouth and said, yes, this is happening. From the time I chose to defend another TI rather than just say, oh no, it's not happening, it can't be happening. Like, the second I chose to take their side, rather than side with the lie or side with this idea that it was a delusion, I made that choice the second I opened my mouth. Sacrifices have to be made for this cause. I don't mind sacrificing myself. I'm good with that. I don't mind it. It's fine. And if it means that they're going to institutionalize me or hospitalize me or whatever, fine. Fuck it. You sacrifice yourself for the cause. You make sure the cause has ground. That can't happen without sacrifice. That's the truth. A lot of people don't like that, but it's the truth. You don't get nothing without sacrifice. And it's gonna take more people basically saying, I choose the truth over everything else. It's gonna take more people doing that in order to get this shit done. Anyway, I love you guys. You take care. Bye-bye. This is a video just in case they take me into hospital, because you know what it is. You know how they do already. I love you guys. Bye-bye.